The story starts with a random village burning as everyone seeks shelter. The last soldiers were killed by one of the orc brothers who have taken over the village. The eldest raises a glass to celebrate this victory with his brothers. Who knew they could be so loving? The orcs talk about capturing humans as they drink heavily, but then a young boy approaches them and draws a wooden sword. They certainly won't be too excited about being disturbed. He introduces himself as Ekusawa Asahi, an adventurer, but they mock him since a pipsqueak like him couldn't possibly defeat the three of them. Why is everyone so full of themselves? However, he retaliates, warning them it would be in their best interests not to attack him and regret afterward. My point exactly! One of the orc brothers charges toward him and leaps into the air. Asagi shields his face, when suddenly a cloud of dust explodes in the orc's path. Before he can reach the kid, coincidence or just great luck, the dust dissipates to reveal a rocky spike emerging from the ground, which pierces through the eldest, killing him immediately. A beautiful young girl with bright red hair furiously attacks the orcs. One of them runs away while the other cowers in front of her. Asahi has lived a regular life, but one day he saves a child from a car accident and dies instead. Truck-kun strikes once again while he's waiting to move on to the next world. All he can think about is new video games, and how everyone would react to his death, including the redhead Maya. Completely normal thoughts for a dead person, right? Suddenly he sees the iconic light at the end of the tunnel and finds himself in a fantasy world that has it all. Castles, dragons, slimes, and much more. He excitedly walks through the village, being more amazed that this place resembles an RPG game, which resembles sort of like Europe, but everyone speaks Japanese. Must be a dream come true for him. Asahi sees a store labeled Guild and is so happy. He's so familiar with all these in-game terminologies like shops and skills. Wow, he knows the word shop! He really can't control his excitement at being reincarnated in a video game. He takes a picture from his smartphone, wanting to upload it, but there's no service. Isn't that obvious? It's medieval times, and neither does he have any money. However, he is certain he's played so many games, he can get out of any crisis. He visits the pawn shop to sell his phone since he doesn't have any use for it, and the shopkeeper wonders if it's from an ancient civilization. Ironic, isn't it? Well, it's a classic video game trope where he sells items he doesn't need and buys some leather armor for physical agility and a simple sword. He thinks he'll be great at fighting on the front lines fully equipped. He heads to the Adventurers Guild, where he meets a bubbly, short-haired girl who thinks it's cute he's come looking for his first quest. Why do girls always seem to like the losers? She takes responsibility for teaching him the regulations and presents the registration form which he fills out. The two of them pick his first quest together, and she suggests he should defeat killer rabbits that rank E on the danger scale. He accepts and travels out of town, where he encounters a fire-breathing wyvern that chases after him. Suddenly, he doesn't like the game as much and runs for his life, wondering if someone must have set the wrong difficulty setting. He knows through his skills and comes across basic level 1 stone throwing, only to discover his base stats are quite low, too. He doesn't think it's effective against fire. He desperately throws a stone at the wyvern, but it barely lands a few meters away, dousing his hopes. The creature corners Asaki as he lies on the ground and calls out for his elder sister Maya. Suddenly, the ground turns pink under him, opening a portal and summoning Maya, who recognizes her brother had called out for her. He's relieved to hear her as the wyvern attacks her with fireballs, but she realizes she can fly. Did the pretty girl also get all the superpowers? She uses her newfound powers like strength and bravery, and defeats the wyvern in a single blow to save her little brother. He wonders what she's doing in this world with him, but she's ecstatic and hugs him. Her compliments do seem quite flirty for siblings as she sits on top of him. Yep, she is the overexcited, brother-obsessed real sister. He explains to her they are in another world and asks her how she ended up there. She explains that while he was in a coma after the accident, she was beside herself with worry and spent day and night by his side. However, in his sleep, he kept muttering things about another world, which made her wonder if his spirit had traveled somewhere else. Thus she repeatedly bangs her head against a wall and ends up here. Asavi is surprised he's still alive and that Maya has such amazing powers, but he decides to head back to their world. Maya asks how he plans to do that, but of course, he hasn't thought of it and blames her for following him here without a way to get back. So now they have no option but to make new lives for themselves in this world. He doesn't quite like that only Maya is OP and that she might be the main character. Back in the present, the orc begs Maya for mercy, but she obliterates him in one hit, truly living up to her title. Mina says there was no way she could have forgiven them, and Asahi thinks she must be worried about the dead villagers. However, she could just not tolerate Asahi being called a pipsqueak. She is upset that his perfect porcelain skin has a blemish, and thinks she doesn't deserve to be his older sister after this. That might be taking it a little too far. She presents a healing elixir, which Asahi tells her most people save to use against the final boss. He tells her a bit of spit is enough to fix it, but she misunderstands that he wants her to lick him all over. She might have forgotten she's his sister. He refuses, but she jumps on him and starts licking him. I don't think she understands the concept of consent. As the survivors from the village gather around and recognize that MC saved them, they start cheering for him, calling him a mighty hero. Asahi is surprised that Maya's victory has been attributed to him. However, he has now accepted that this story is just about his big sister being OP. Back at the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist congratulates him for ranking up 3 classes after the orc incident, which is quite a huge achievement. He holds his hand out, and she presents him with an ogre class badge. She explains that a badge is like an identity document, so he's not allowed to sell or give it away. Her praise makes him blush, but I'm not too sure Maya will be happy about it. She continues telling him that falsifying ranks is illegal, which could result in execution. Asahi begs Maya to hide her strength and make him appear like the strong one. She doesn't understand, but agrees. Asahi asks to see her stats. She just starts dictating her measurements and finally gets her to display them. However, the screen is empty, and he wonders if it's an error. But then it strikes him that maybe her levels are so maxed out that the scores stretched off the entire screen. He really can't help his jealousy at this point, and insists she must never show anyone else. She loves keeping a secret just between them, and agrees in exchange for seeing MC's secret numbers, where she just wants to count the number of beauty marks on his body. Come on, isn't that a little too perverted? In town, Asahi and Maya see a crowd gathered around a party of knights whom the people rely on to defeat the Demon King. Why is there always a Demon King? Asahi wonders. If they are famous, isn't it obvious? There's an entire procession for them, the man from the pawn shop tells him. They are the strongest party, Clan Ball Monk. This entire parade is a farewell to send him on their mission to defeat the Demon King. Asahi explains to Maya that the Demon King is the final boss, and defeating him could sometimes send people back to their worlds, which makes her want to kill him in one hit. Hey, it's not like heading to the convenience store, the man from the pawn shop tells her. No matter how high her rank is, they need to gain more experience. As he tells them about Dragon Hunter Siegfried, the leader of the clan, who is a dragon-class adventurer, Asahi marvels at them and wants to be just as strong one day. A big, burly man, Delin, who's had too much to drink, overhears them and says there's nothing too good about being dragon-class and that Siegfried is just arrogant and cocky. He must not have been able to achieve it himself to hate it that much. The man with the food stand tries to cool down the angry customer who smashes an axe through the table. Wouldn't want to get on his bad side. Townsfolk start gossiping about who could defeat Delin, since he used to be an ogre class, even though he got demoted, and the pawn shop owner turns their attention to Asahi. The people start cheering for him as their champion, who will save them, and Delin calls him a pipsqueak. Oh, he better watch out for Big Sister Maya, who is furious at this insult. Asahi tells her she's strong enough to flatten this human, but she assures him she'll spare him. She plans to pound him with magic until he's on the brink of death, so he'll crave to be killed for the rest of his life. Why are all pretty girls so scary? He instigates them to attack. But Asahi whispers something to Maya and walks towards Delin, throwing one insult after the other. He uses an old mom joke, and Delin attacks, but Asahi moves his hand, cracking the stone-paved street beneath them. Delin runs away scared, and Asahi becomes a hero, using Maya's power with no one finding out he is actually weak. Maya reminds Asahi of his promise to do anything in exchange for her help and smiles. The story continues with Asahi recapping how he ended up in this situation. MC was summoned to another world only recently and is now in the middle of a slime hunting quest as a novice adventurer. With a mighty strike, he manages to slice the blue slime in two. Hooray! He is embarrassed to say that he can finally beat a single slime easily, and it only gives him 1 experience point, but that's the level he's at. On the other hand, his big sister Aikusaba Maya is much more experienced and seems to be doing better. She levitates in the air, magic circles appearing in front of both hands. Shouting, "Big sis fire!" Ati, she obliterates an entire field full of slimes, while MC watches stunned. Maya turns to him, remarking he's taking care of things on his end too. But the difference between them is unbelievable. She's just gained 100,000 experience. As she runs to him and hugs him, Maya tells him she's proud of how capable he is. Unfortunately, with the raging inferno still behind her, that's kind of hard to believe. Thus, MC is starting his life in another world with a sister who's got a cheat-level power and a cheat-level brother. In Session 2, elsewhere, the heroes seek Fried, and his party have been completely annihilated by the Demon Lord, a well-endowed horned lady. Unbelievable, he exclaims. We've driven off countless dragons, but we're unable to defeat her. The Demon Lord boasts she's much stronger than any dragon and goads Siegfried into attacking her. He charges her, but she sends a blast of purple magic at him that takes him out in a single hit. The bored look in her eyes is all-consuming as she wonders where she'll find somebody who can entertain her a little and won't fall in a single attack. The scene then shifts to Maya sneezing. "Ha! Did you catch a cold?" MC asks. Since Maya is dressed like that, MC goes over and gives her his jacket because that's a healthy trope since guys don't get cold or sick. Feeling that he cares for her, Maya's blush turns into a very desiring gaze. "Well, if that's the case," she says, "why don't you warm me up using your body heat?" At this, MC laughs nervously and tries to back away, but she's upon him in an instant. We're going down this road again. The next day, MC resolves to not keep relying on Maya and sets up to take on a quest he should be able to complete on his own. Given the entire reason anyone is watching this anime is his sister, I somehow doubt things will go as planned. As he walks to the Adventurers Guild, his sister opens a window above him, positively beaming. "I'm so glad I got to come to this world," she thinks. "After all, I get to be with Asahi from when we say good morning to when we say good night." More interesting thoughts appear. "I bet he's in the next room thinking the exact same thing," she says, holding her laundry in her hands. Just then, she realizes she can't sense MC's presence in the other room as everything has gone completely quiet. She bursts into his room, not even respecting his privacy. What if he's just doing teenage guy things? Luckily for him, this isn't the case. When Maya enters, she finds it empty, safe for a note on the table. "I'm going for a little walk. Be careful not to catch a cold." She inspects his bed, finding it still mildly warm, meaning MC can have gone far. It looks like she's about to search for him when she suddenly gets a better idea. "Wait, this is Asahi's bed," she shouts before jumping onto it. "I can feel his warmth." Soon she's wrapped up in his own sheets and completely lost in heaven. Even Yanders might be able to take a few notes. Here, meanwhile, Asahi is off at the Adventurers Guild, looking for quest contracts from the receptionist, Tanya. She suggests troll hunting or a quest to swipe a wyvern's egg as options matching his level of skill. The troll quest is of moderate difficulty at level 15, while the wyvern quest is very difficult and is at level 18. These are both ridiculously difficult, and MC panics since there's no way he can complete those quests without his sister. He needs to get Tanya to give him a quest he can finish up quickly before his sister gets suspicious. So he asks if there are any quests that are easy and close to town. Tanya is confused and tells him there are only rabbit and goblin class quests near here. Not wanting to make her more suspicious, North Carolina tells her he wants an easy quest because he doesn't want to forget what it was like to start out, and he'd be able to quickly help the town if anything happened. A natural 20 deception check later, North Carolina is handed a quest to gather rainbow mushrooms in the Claudio Forest. It's difficulty level 2 and was intended for complete beginners, so Tanya apologizes. It might not be all that fulfilling for someone who's ogre class. MC pulls some more BS, reminding her no matter how small the quest, someone has to do it. Thus, Anya leaves in with the magic mushroom quest. Surely with such an easy quest, MC should be able to handle it without his sister and get enough experience and money to pay for the room at the inn. And so MC is off looking for rainbow mushrooms. When he gets there, everything is literally easy pickings, but it makes him wonder why there aren't any other adventurers around. That's when he sees the sign warning about dangerous bears. Surely it'll be unlikely for a bear to attack the one guy who is extremely weak without his sister and all by himself. Surely, right? which is when a bear shows up to attack him, chasing him as he tries to muster up the courage to confront it. He turns and uses his signature skill, Stone Throw, because that worked well last time. Sure enough, he actually uses one of his mushrooms, tossing it right into the bear's mouth, who swallows it instantly before resuming the chase. Then a massive blast of lightning completely annihilates the creature and sends MC Seed bouncing all over the place, spilling mushrooms until he crashes into a nice, comfy cushion. It's a pair of melons. MC immediately realizes it's her sister with the insane amount of power and the feel of those pillows. He calls her sister, but unfortunately for him, it turns out to be the Demon Lord, complete with her 2 ox horns. MC immediately jumps away, apologizing, but the demon seems to take a liking to being called Big Sister, even going so far as to protect him from the horde of bears that soon show up. No matter how many weaklings amass, they are useless, she declares before annihilating them all. Kaiser Bear, the guardian of the Claudio Forest, makes its appearance, recognizing the demon as Kilmara. He channels a powerful energy blast, and MC starts saying his prayers, but Kilmara pulls him into her melons again and deflects the attack with a magic barrier. She treats him as her little brother, so it's only natural of her to protect her brother. After annihilating the Bear King with a single attack, Kilmara reveals herself as one of the Demon King's 6 generals. Fortunately for him, MC is weak, and she won't attack him. Not to mention she considers him her brother. Of course, misfortune is never far off. Soon, Kilmara confides in him. She's looking for an adventurer named Asahi to fight him to the death. But wait, that's me, he realizes instantly, figuring out just how dead he is. She's on a totally different level from the other adventures. NC is about to run off when his adventurer ID coin slips out of his pocket and rolls over to Kilmara. Oh, I guess the DM is railroading us into a boss fight. The demon commander immediately channels an attack, while elsewhere Maya's "My Brother's in Danger" radar goes off. MC starts running from Kilmara, who flies after him, confused. Why aren't you fighting? She asks, still believing him to be a powerful adventurer. Because I'm scared, he shouts. Thus, the demon flies after him while trying to convince her little brother to fight her to the death. This goes on for a bit before a pillar erupts from the ground, separating the two, and sending MC flying into another set of melons. These he recognizes for sure. This sensation, this scent, it's Maya. The 2 girls proceed to have an argument about their revealing looks and how they plan to pounce on NC. Their exchange over, they proceed to clash right there, and for the first time, none of their attacks are able to end the battle in a single hit. You can keep up, they exclaim after seeing Maya's power. Kilmara realizes the legend of the star adventurer Asahi was really due to his sister. The pair duel while NC looks on, each of their blows tearing apart bits of the once peaceful Claudio Forest. Whenever one makes an attack, the other defends. Everything seems evenly matched until Kilmara unleashes her killer fire attack, which Maya easily blows away. Oh no, did Saitama finally get serious? In a single attack, Kilmara is defeated and sent into a painful impact on the ground. As Maya goes in for the kill, North Carolina steps in and tries to defend her since she had protected him from the bears. With an absolutely cracked charisma check, he manages to end the fight on a rather peaceful note, convincing Kilmara he doesn't harbor any resentment towards her for trying to kill him, and staving off Maya by assuring her their fight was only due to a misunderstanding. All's well that ends well, right? As they're walking back to town, Maya practically throws herself onto him, saying she's out of MP and can't walk anymore. She wants him to give her a piggyback ride. MC calls her a liar, and she confesses she understands Kilmara's desire to pounce on Asahi. When they arrive home, MC makes dinner while poking fun at Maya's skill names. Who calls their attack Big Sis Windblast?